All right, so are you ready to go deep on this ReCircuit protocol?
Let's do it.
You sent over a ton of articles, white papers, even like forum discussions.
Yeah.
Looks like someone's been doing their homework.
Definitely trying to wrap my head around this whole thing.
I feel you. Even for me, and I consider myself pretty tech savvy, this whole blockchain AI fusion is,
Yeah.
it's a lot.
It is definitely next level stuff. But that's kind of what makes it so interesting, right?
Well.
ReCircuit is basically building like a decentralized marketplace for AI tasks
Yeah.
using the blockchain for that security and transparency.
Yep.
And get this, they want to govern the whole thing through a democratic process.
Hold on. Wait. Democratic AI?
Yeah.
Now that I got to hear more
It's
about...
wild.
But before we get ahead of ourselves,
Sure.
let's back up a second. All this talk about service agents and Praetorian agents.
Right.
It sounds kind of sci-fi. Are we talking about like actual robots running around doing our bidding?
Not robots exactly, but the analogy kind of works. Think of service agents as like specialized businesses
Okay.
within this digital ecosystem.
Mm.
They can handle all kinds of stuff from like property management to super complicated legal documents.
So like the skilled workforce of this AI-powered city.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And every city needs rules, right?
Right.
That's where the Praetorian agents come in. They're the enforcers, making sure everything happening on ReCircuit follows the law.
The law. Now, that does sound kind of ominous, doesn't it?
It does have a bit of a ring to it.
Like some sci-fi thriller where AI's taken over.
Yeah.
So what is the law exactly?
It's basically like the code of conduct for the entire ReCircuit ecosystem.
Okay.
And here's the really interesting part. It's not like set in stone by some central authority.
Okay.
It's the token holders. The people who've invested in the ReCircuit network, they get to vote on any changes to the law.
Wait, so it's like a digital democracy.
It is.
The citizens of this AI city get to make their own laws.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That's actually one of the things that makes ReCircuit really unique.
That's wild.
It's not just cutting-edge AI. It's this whole decentralized way of governing it.
I gotta say, color me intrigued I am.
Yeah.
But now I'm really curious about how it all works on a technical level.
Of course.
The white paper mentions something called zero-knowledge proofs.
Right.
And I'm not gonna lie, that sounds like something straight out of a cryptography textbook.
Yeah, it does sound kind of intimidating.
Yeah.
But it's actually a pretty simple idea.
Okay.
Imagine you want to prove you're old enough to buy a drink,
Sure.
but you don't want to show your ID,
Uh-huh.
a zero-knowledge proof. A VK proof lets you do that.
Okay.
You can prove you're old enough without revealing your birth date or any personal info.
That's a great analogy. I like that. And in a world where data privacy is such a big deal,
Yeah.
I can definitely see why that would be appealing. So how do these ZK proofs actually work with ReCircuit?
They're super important for keeping things confidential and trustworthy.
Okay.
ZK proofs make it possible to have these secure transactions where you can confirm something's true without actually seeing the data. Like say you're renting an apartment through ReCircuit.
Okay.
The service agent handling the transaction could use a ZK proof to confirm your income.
Got it.
Meets the landlord's requirements without ever actually revealing your finances.
That's impressive. It's like having a digital notary who can verify stuff
Exactly.
without ever seeing the actual documents.
That's the idea. Privacy is protected, but everything stays transparent and accountable.
Wow. So we've got the basics, our service agents, Praetorian agents, the law, and these mind-boggling ZK proofs.
We've covered a lot.
But what I'm really interested in is how this all translates to actual real-world uses.
For sure.
And the source material you sent is packed with examples.
Yeah, there are tons.
Let's jump into those.
Absolutely. Why don't we start with rental markets?
Yeah.
That's something everyone can relate to, right?
Perfect. I've moved more times than I care to count, and the traditional way of renting, ugh, it's a nightmare.
It's a pain.
Paperwork, background checks, security deposits.
It's the worst.
It's enough to make you want to just give up and live in a van down by the river.
Well, with ReCircuit, that whole process could be streamlined and secured using AI agents.
Okay.
Imagine finding your dream apartment through a ReCircuit platform.
Okay.
The service agent would handle everything, verifying your background, negotiating with the landlord,
Okay.
even setting up those automated rent payments on the blockchain.
So no more chasing down landlords for repairs
Yeah.
or dealing with mountains of paperwork.
Exactly.
Sign me up. But wait a second. What about the security of my personal information in all this?
That's where those ZK proofs we talked about come into play.
Er,
Remember, they let you verify things without
Mhm.
revealing the actual data.
right.
So your income, credit history, any of that sensitive stuff, it all stays completely confidential.
That's amazing. So it's not just making renting easier, it's giving renters more control over their own data.
Exactly. And because everything's recorded on the blockchain,
Yeah.
there's a permanent record of every single transaction. That could be huge for resolving disputes, protecting both landlords and tenants,
Right.
and potentially even reducing those expensive legal battles.
That's what I call real innovation. It's not just making things convenient, it's actually shifting the power dynamic so everyone benefits.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. What other use cases are you curious about?
Well, let's see.
We've got a lot to choose from. How about we shift gears from those leases and landlords
Okay.
and talk about something a little more exciting.
All right.
Let's talk about private assets.
Okay.
Think about all the complexities that come with investing in things like startups or real estate ventures.
Right.
It can get pretty murky.
Yeah.
Limited transparency, a lot of trust involved.
Yeah. Definitely not for the faint of heart.
No.
I've tried some crowdfunding platforms before.
No.
Honestly, it feels like you're just throwing money into a black hole.
Ick.
You never really know what's going on behind the scenes.
That's exactly the problem ReCircuit is trying to solve.
Uh-huh.
By using the blockchain, they can create a system where every investment,
Okay.
every transaction,
Yeah.
every milestone
Uh-huh.
is all recorded securely and transparently.
So you can actually see where your money's going,
You got
how the
it.
project is progressing,
Exactly.
what your potential returns might look like.
You would have all that information.
That kind of transparency would be huge.
It would be a game changer.
No more blind faith or just crossing your fingers and hoping to the best.
Yeah.
You could actually make informed investment decisions.
Exactly. Based on real-time data.
Right.
Yeah.
And because everything's tracked on this immutable ledger,
Right.
there's less room for manipulation or fraud.
Less opportunity for things to go wrong.
So it's kind of like democratizing access to capital,
Yeah.
giving everyone a chance to participate in
Yes.
these really interesting ventures.
That's the idea.
Okay, I'm seeing a pattern here. ReCircuit is all about transparency,
It is. It's-
security, and efficiency.
Those are the big three.
What's the next use case on the list?
Let's dive into the world of financial market research.
All right.
Imagine a future where analysts can share all their insights and data completely securely
Okay.
without worrying about leaks or breaches.
Interesting.
ReCircuit could create a marketplace where valuable research is tokenized and traded, ensuring confidentiality of the sources and protecting the intellectual property of the analysts.
So much valuable information right now is just locked away,
It is.
only accessible to a select few.
Yeah, it's a very closed system.
This could really level the playing field,
That's the goal.
give individual investors access to the same high-quality research that these big institutions rely on.
It could lead to a much more informed and efficient market
Right.
where those investment decisions are based on a much wider pool of knowledge.
And don't forget about the benefits for the analysts themselves.
Right.
They could actually monetize their expertise directly
They could.
without having to go through these middlemen.
Yep, got out the middleman.
Or worry about their work being stolen.
And keep control of their work.
It's like creating this whole new economy for knowledge,
It is.
powered by the blockchain.
It's a fascinating concept.
ReCircuit is really blowing my mind here.
Glad to hear it.
We've talked about rental markets, private assets, and financial research.
We have.
Any other potential applications that you're seeing in this material?
Oh, we barely scratched the surface.
Really?
The real beauty of this technology is just how adaptable it is.
Okay, give me an example.
Well, think about supply chain management.
Uh-huh.
ReCircuit could be used to track products
Interesting.
from their origin all the way to the consumer,
Uh-huh.
ensuring authenticity,
Okay,
combating counterfeiting.
that makes sense.
That'd be especially valuable for industries like pharmaceuticals or luxury goods.
Right, where trust and knowing where something came from,
Yeah, provenance is so important.
that's super important.
It's essential.
I could see companies and consumers both getting behind something
I think so.
that guarantees the integrity of the products they're buying.
Absolutely. It's a win-win.
What other industries could benefit from this kind of transparency and traceability?
Oh, the possibilities are pretty much endless.
Okay, give me another example.
How about healthcare?
Okay.
Imagine medical records securely stored and shared on this blockchain platform, accessible only to authorized individuals.
Okay.
They could completely change patient care,
Yeah.
streamline clinical trials,
Okay.
even improve how efficiently insurance claims are handled.
So we're talking about a whole new way of dealing with sensitive data
We are.
with potential benefits across so many different areas.
Absolutely. But let's be real here.
Okay.
It's not all sunshine and roses, right?
Yeah, I was just thinking that. No system is perfect.
Right. There are always going to be challenges and concerns that we need to address.
Okay, what are some of the challenges you're seeing with ReCircuit?
Well, I think one of the biggest challenges
Yeah.
is ensuring that the AI agents themselves are reliable and impartial.
That's a good point. We're
Yeah.
giving these agents a lot of power. They're making decisions that could have real-world consequences.
Exactly.
Right.
Whether it's approving a loan,
Yeah.
evaluating an investment opportunity,
Uh-huh.
or analyzing financial data.
So how do we make sure these AI agents are actually doing the right thing?
How do we make sure they're not biased?
Right. Making fair and ethical decisions.
That's where the whole decentralized governance model comes in.
Okay, remind me how that works again.
Remember the token holders?
Uh-huh. The community invested in ReCircuit.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
They have the power to vote on the rules that govern the entire system.
Okay,
This includes things like setting standards for how AI agents are developed,
gotcha.
establishing ways to audit their behavior,
Okay.
even putting penalties in place for agents that don't follow the guidelines.
So it's like a system of checks and balances.
Exactly.
Where the community is making sure that the AI agents are acting responsibly.
And that they're acting in line with the values of the ecosystem.
It's like harnessing the collective intelligence of the entire community to make sure AI is being used for good.
For the benefit of everyone.
I'm really picking up on this theme of community involvement.
Yeah,
It seems to be at the heart of what ReCircuit is all about.
it really is. That's one of the things I find most interesting about this whole project.
Yeah.
It's not just about building some new technology.
Right.
It's about creating a new way for people to connect,
Mm-hmm.
to work together,
Okay.
and to govern themselves in this digital age.
This deep dive has been a real eye-opener.
I'm glad.
It's clear that ReCircuit is more than just a new piece of tech.
It exists.
It's a glimpse into a future that's full of potential. So what's the takeaway for our listeners?
What should they be thinking about as they learn more about this?
Good question.
I think the most important thing is to stay informed and engaged, ask questions,
Yeah,
and decide for yourself what role you want AI to play in your life.
that's a great point. We need more people who are willing to think critically.
We do,
Yeah.
especially in this day and age.
And to be informed citizens.
Yeah, help us all navigate this crazy technological world.
Well said. This has been an awesome deep dive into ReCircuit Protocol.
It has been fun.
A world full of amazing possibilities.
It is a lot to take in.
Thanks for joining me on this journey.
Thanks for having me.
And remember, the future is in our hands.